Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today we're attempting to combine some winter oats. As you can see, it's not ideal, but that being said, I have combined worse. And sorry, I said winter oats is actually spring oats. We were combining here on Saturday and we got rained out Saturday night. So we're finally back now today. Today is Tuesday, so we're finally back cutting. We've gotten through the harvest relatively well. We've been up to our eyes, but we've been getting there. And it's been hit and miss. When we've been running, when we have been moving, we've been moving at pace. So I haven't actually got a chance to film anything. So this is the cab of my John Deere T660. It's a little worse for wear. Could do with being cleaned out. My combine could do with a full wash, but I'll just give you a quick walk around my combine. So this is my screen, as you know, or as you can gather, and this is the way I have it set up. So I have home screen 2 and home screen 1. This has got my camera for behind. It's got my combine settings. So as you can see here, the drum is at the concave is at 12 millimeters. The drum is at 970 rotations per minute. The fan is at just under 900. And my upper and lower sieves. My yield monitoring is changing the whole time. I'd say I'll be averaging about 3.3 ton on winter oats. I couldn't swear to it. No, my moisture meter is saying around 22%. I'll put the sunglasses on here now because the day is actually picking up at a lively pace. There's a rented farm we have. There's 45 acres in it, and it's decent ground, to be fair to the farmer. It's doing well. This is his first year out of silage. He was dairy farming up until last year when he done in his shoulder and decided to retire. So now he's in he does replacements and beef finishing, dairy beef finishing. You can see up at the far end there, we bought a Massey Ferguson 3645 with only 5,000 hours on it because we were under a lot of pressure for the year that was in it. I'm creating my auto track here. We'll set A at that, and we'll set B when we get to the far end. We're under a lot of pressure for the year that's in it because we still have a lot of baling and wrapping on. We have one of the mowers out at the moment there, and the 6490 runs double bay lifters front and back, so that's why it's so it's busy at that. And the 5140 was on the sprayer and row crop, so that didn't really suit for drawing. And now the 5140 is on the hedge cutter full time. My father's away at that, so it's a nuisance to have to unhitch the hedge cutter to go draw on bales and then to come home and hitch up to it again. Yeah, it's very wet underfoot, but there's not much I can see about it. So just talking about crops, I suppose. The winter barley averaged about 3.8, which wasn't too bad for the year that's in it. Spring barley, according to the yield mapping on this, is varying between our own stuff and the contracting. It's doing about 2.7. Our own stuff, we don't have enough of it done really to give a proper average, but at the moment it's doing about the 2.8. I have big hopes for the last two fields, so we'll wait and see. The oilseed rape, moisture was a bit high in it. Moisture was 16%, but it's still done amazingly. It done 1.8 ton, and it's spring oilseed rape, so I can't really complain too much about it, although I'll probably try. A lot of my crops got very few sprays this year. Oh look, I just hate it when that happens. This is just because the straw is so damp. And actually the straw isn't as damp as it could be, otherwise I wouldn't be cutting. And the straw isn't actually as damp as it could be. But all the same, it's still giving my poor combine a run for its money. So we're going to switch to screen 1 here now, and we can see where my auto steer line is. Oh, I forgot to turn on my auto steer. I set the trap, but never set the auto steer. So here now we're on my auto steer line, and we'll let the auto steer take over so I can actually pay attention to what I'm doing. You're gonna have to ignore the sheer volume of beeping. There's just too much of it. Percentage in the tank 35, so we'll make it up and back again. It's catching here, which is a bit of a nuisance. So that either means that there's something there for it to catch on, or there's a section broken. But there's not a section broken because I checked it all a few minutes ago. It's just simply that the that's where it's meeting, so that's hardest on the knife to cut. Oats is a particularly difficult crop to cut, and both myself and my father know it too well. But it seems to always be blocking up the returns auger. So more often than not, your limiting factor isn't your losses like in spring barley, it is the returns auger. So you have to keep an eye on it. So anyway, sorry, I was saying about 3645. A friend of mine's uncle was retiring, and the tractor was 5,000 hours, 145 horsepower, really good value for money. We couldn't pass it up, because we really needed another tractor for the year that was in it. But our investment scheme didn't really include another tractor. Or it did, but not for another while down the road. So when this tractor was going for the money it made sense, because it basically lived on a 5-furrow plough in its previous owner. And our biggest problem is that while the MX is more than enough power to pull the 5-furrow plough, the back end just wasn't strong enough to carry the 5-furrow plough. So we couldn't actually run it, and run a 5-furrow plough. So now that we have that tractor bought, we now have to scrape together the money to to buy another 5-furrow plough and retire the 4-furrow plough. We were running 2 5-furrow ploughs years ago, and the MX, it was just it was like the old days. Daddy always has this story about Ford 7610 he had, where you had to put a new clutch into it every year because it just wasn't able for the work it was doing. And when something on the MX broke, you just had to replace it, and that's all there was to it. But then we went towards Mintil, and we sold that 5-furrow plough and bought the Romalka disc harrow we have. And that was the plan for that. But anyway, the Mintil hasn't really suited for our ground, and we're putting that down to there not being enough organic matter in the soil. So at the moment we're doing rotations and introducing organic matter such as cover crops and dung, slurry, and a bunch of other things. We're also attempting to feed the worms. We're getting in products to feed worms, and all of these things to try and improve organic matter in the soil. So it's a work in progress, and maybe in 5 or 10 years time we can revisit the Mintil, or I actually prefer zero till, because it's a known law basically that tillage encourages weeds. So basically if we till the ground at all, it's going to encourage weeds to come up, whereas with zero till you're just basically slicing the ground and putting in a seed. So that could be controlled with half rate of a pre-emergence instead of the sheer volume of pre-emergence that's going on at the moment. Now, a lot of my winter crops only got a pre-emergence. We didn't actually put anything else onto them. And because the pre-emerge done a good enough job, we got it on at the right time, and then we kind of thought the crop could compete with the weeds to a certain extent. Well, we can see here that the GPS is a little bit off the end, but I'm going to let it go straight for this time so that next time it's perfect. So I'm going to lift that up like this, and I'm going to reverse back, clear my lifters, and I'm going to pivot my head like so. There's my father ringing me. Talk to his nephew. So Daddy's gone there now, and we're still cutting. God, that day's really turned into something. Dan, my driver's here. The combine was left in this field since Saturday, something I don't like. I can't stand leaving machinery out in the rain, but it's just something that has to be done sometimes. So anyway, the combine was here over the weekend, so I brought down a tractor and trailer, and sorry, I can just see the dust here blowing away out of the tank. There's a certain amount of chaff coming into the tank. It's not something I would exactly want, but it's just the way it is. So anyway, it's cleaning it off fairly well. Either that or it's the chaff spreads at the back. Oh, there's another lift, another block. It's just the year that's in it, unfortunately. I feel pity for whoever has to bail it. Anyway, can't remember what I was saying there. Anyway, so we'll unload on the move here to try and speed the combine up a touch, and then when we're done, Dan will escort me home. So we'll play it by ear and see what happens. Yeah, about all we can do. Talk soon. barley we have taken off this lad, and he's moving the trolley because my tractor didn't get back in time. I arrived in just as we were heading down to the far field. I hate driving along cut ground. Keep all the trailers to the lane, which is there, as you can see. But combine's just too big for the lane, so you know, needs must. So the spring oats are averaging 3.5 tons a acre, and a crop that cost next to nothing to grow. Sorry, falling it down to get into the thing. It got one herbicide, one fungicide, and then glyphosate to spray off, because a lot of it had lodged around by the boundaries. So it didn't want to try to push really high moisture crops or through the combine and blocking it, spending hours unblocking it. Roundup isn't something I like to use too often, but everything has its place. So we used it in 2017, we didn't use it in 18 or 19. We didn't use it at the start of this year, but then for spring barley we just simply didn't have a choice in the matter. So yeah, that's the way it is really. It's unfortunate, but look, shit happens. So there's 6 acres out here. We're expecting 2 tons a acre because it is so badly lodged. We'd be shocked if it was better than that. As you can see, narrow lane, right? Yeah, it's kind of awkward, but sure, what can you do? I have to hug. I was warned by the farmer to absolutely hug the left-hand side of this bridge, because an Arctic went over it years ago, and an Arctic with 30 ton lime, and he took away all the support from the right hand side of the bridge. So that meant poor Mark was the one suffering for his incompetence. We're hugging the fence here at the moment. It is too tight. The lane is about 13 foot wide, and the combine is 12 foot 9 inches, so it leaves me with very little play on either side. Now I have to try and get up out of that corner. This is why I didn't want to take the combine out of the field until the corn cutting was done, because it's very difficult to get in and out of the place, and I'm counting my blessings. There's no tyres or damage done so far, touch wood, and we'll see. Yeah. So yeah, so we're moving here now. I'll leave it, I'll turn it off until we get to the field, and then I'll turn it on, hit the header, and then turn it on again when I start cutting, and you can see how badly lodged it is and how the storms have affected us up this direction. So we're opening up the tank here now to get started. As you can see, my lovely field is in an awful state. This is a project we done with the landowner to see how it would fare out. It was freshly drained because the year was so dry. The corn stayed growing. Oh. Documentation. I forgot to change it to spring barley. Whatever. Accept. Okay. Now we gotta go to combine. This one. Start it up. Accept. Rev it up. Now we have to go. I've lost count at this stage. I don't know how many days we've been at grain, because there's a lot of bits of days here and bits of days there. So now we're going to go down and we're going to try and cut some spring barley. The biggest field we have, there's 47 acres in it. So we're going to take a stab at it and see what happens. And see if there's any chance we can get cutting. Because that field has been haunting me since spring barley started coming in. O-R-E. So we're going to go down. I'm going to take a stab at it. See what happens. So I don't know what else to say or do at this stage. As you see, I have the header in front of me, and one trailer's down the field, and another's behind me. We're overstaffed for this job because the draw is so close. It's coming from, where's it coming from? It's coming from ground we own here around the yard, and it's only going, say if it's going 5 miles over the road, it'd be a push. Yeah. So anyway, look, I don't want to be dragging you the whole way down, so I'll turn off and kick on again in a minute. There we go. I do not know what she's doing because she's kind of making life very difficult on me. Yeah, okay, good. She's going in a circle. It was just getting complicated. Unnecessarily complicated. Hillmaster. Stick camera. The Hillmaster a lot better than a person would. It helped if I got lower gear. very wet in places. I've had to reverse out and take a back route. So, no, it's just the air that's in it. We have to do what we can when we can, and pray we don't get stuck. Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully I have enough content filmed to pique your interests and make up a good video. Talk soon. So as you can see here, we're combining. This isn't actually our tractor, it's a customer we're cutting for. Trevor, you have seen him in the last video there, is videoing this with the drone. He's not too bad at it. This guy has a Dietz 165 and an 18-foot Brahan grain trailer, and he has a Fendt 516 with a Gillespie trailer up in the corner of the screen there. So we're cutting spring barley again. We're still cutting spring barley. You can see here where we have 2 drains marked so that ploughs and one pass don't bury them. But I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to take this here so I can know what I'm looking at. No, it is. Yeah, okay. You can see the baler's baling away. The straw is nice and dry, and the baler is baling away merrily. It's amusing how dry it is actually. Look here, we can phone. Yeah, that's just Amy, one of the girls driving. Yeah, you can't see the baler because the thing is angled down, but the Case MX135 is on the baler. 3645 is off mowing. The 6485 and 6490 is with me. Well, 6490 is going to load. Actually, isn't it a nice size that it just fits the whole head in? But yeah, no, look, we might get out to the far end over there this evening. We'll see how we get on. There's 47 acres in the field. There's 15 or so over there left uncut. So if we can get this 25 out this evening, considering the late start we got and how difficult it was getting cutting, we'd be fairly happy with ourselves. The yield map is showing okay. The yield is only okay. Wouldn't exactly set you a light. Yeah, here, see what I mean? Like it is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not averaging out across the whole field as that, which is disappointing. Now you can actually see the bales here that are in my way, of course, but like they're fine looking bales, and they're, for what they are, like they're low moisture. That's my reverse camera. The lifters are giving me grief with blockages, so I just have to keep clearing them. And as anybody who knows, it slows you down. But unfortunately, they are a necessary evil this year, and I consider them an evil of epic proportions. Yeah, I think that's about it really. For now, until I think of something else.